found this website that is mapping community co-living spaces in Europe, and I decided to download the data from this website and add some additional data and try to find some patterns and identify what makes certain co-living spaces popular, and are they really successful? Is it a good business? I tried to answer all these questions, like looking on the data, looking on the map, and my goal was to identify the hotels on buythathotel.com, what is my website. These are the hotels for sale, and I tried to identify which of them might be a good fit for a co-living concept. And actually came with some formula plus manual curation. I created a list of some of the properties that I believe could be a good fit. But I think what is more interesting than this list is actually the whole process, because I had there many insights I would like to share with you. So let's go back to the beginning. So the name of the website is colivium.co, and the guy who built it, I talked with him. He analyzed the reviews on Google Maps and tried to create his own formula to create like a transparent rating if the co-living is good or not. And the rating goes from 0 to 10. And I was interested on first like 40 co-living spaces. I also found, like, I know people who stayed in a lot of these co-living spaces, or I visited them, and I kind of see this rating as very accurate. So in the spreadsheet, I have here the rating. I downloaded from the website also the number of rooms. Some of them have dorm beds, so that's a bit confusing. It's basically the rooms with multiple beds, but most of them have single rooms. So you can see the number of rooms is actually very low on average. Like if you look on average is 8.3, very low number, and like 14, 13. Actually, not many of them have more than 10 rooms. And in hospitality, if you have less than 15 bedrooms, that's a very difficult business. It's very difficult to operate unless it's ultra luxury. Like you can manage like profitable business with less than 15 bedrooms. But what maybe compensates here with co-living is this minimum number of nights. And it's one of the most interesting parts of this business. So most of them, they have on the website listed that the minimum number of nights is 14. We see 27, 7. So they don't operate like a regular tourism business where you can stay for 1 or 2 or 3 nights. You have to stay at least 14. And is it because they have high occupancy rates and they just try to filter the people? Well, they can always increase the prices, right? So from what I know, and I was also applying it on my co-living space, is that you want to create a community, right? And if you have people rotating there every 3 nights, that's a very difficult thing to do, to have this community. But yeah, it's very interesting from the business perspective, right? If you have people staying there minimum 30 nights, these are minimum. So I don't know the average. I don't operate these co-living spaces, but if someone's staying there at least 30 nights, like imagine the savings in the operations, right? Like you don't need to do so often the cleaning and check-ins and check-outs and all the communication with the guests. Like you don't need so many guests per year to make your co-living full, right? And the second most interesting thing is the distance from the airport. Like that's more visible here on the map. So let me click here, for instance. Like here are all the co-livings and distance from the airport in. I had it there and I removed the distance from the airport in minutes. So you have some co-living spaces that are like, well, in the Canary Islands, everything is close, 40 minutes, 15 minutes, but you have co-living spaces like 210 minutes. That's like, that's a lot. Who wants to drive by car, right? Like who wants to drive more than 3 hours to get to a co-living space? Like 2 hours driving, and with public transportation, it's probably double. And I look like these co-living spaces that are like long distance from the airport, and you can see some patterns that those that are the most popular ones are very often like far from the airport. What is not common in the tourism, people when they travel somewhere for vacation, they hate to be far from the airport. So you need to have something very special to attract people to your place. And yeah, these places, when you look on the map and you try to research them, they are very cheap. The hotels there for sale, when you go and buy that hotel and you look on those locations on the map, those hotels for sale are also very cheap. So this is the angle where I believe you can actually make money with co-living. If you go direction that you decide to have something quite far from the airport, you can buy it for very, very cheap, and you create a brand, you create a destination, and you have there people staying for 30 days. I think that's the formula for success. If you try to do something in more popular touristy locations, that's way more difficult. The properties are more expensive. Everyone in this co-living industry, like from this analysis I see, is trying to anyway go like not to so mainstream locations. So this is Tenerife in Canary Islands, and you see like none of these co-living spaces is on the beach, Tenerife is the place where most people travel to stay on the beach. And so yes, you can go like more to less tourism places, but these places are still touristic and the real estate is still very expensive. I think in this type of locations, you can have the second model. What is, I once wrote it on my blog about this Sun and Co. Coliving in Valencia, that they operate as a hostel for 3 months of the year. And then they switch the business for 9 months and they operate as a co-living space. I don't know how they are doing now, but this was like a couple of years ago when I wrote it. And I believe this concept can work. Maybe it doesn't need to be like so openly communicated, like this literally is the name of the hostel, right? And this is the name of the co-living. So I can imagine that you can have a co-living space and build a brand around it. And during the summer or the high season in Canary Islands, the summer is not necessarily the high season. Like during the high season, you just block it for co-living and rent it on Airbnb or Booking. And it's a different business, it's a different game. So I see like these two options, like going like very far from the airport, buying very cheap and operated in very high profitability, or the second path, going safer. It's like to more closer, like more touristy locations. In that case, it probably is easier to get some financing from the bank or private investors because it's just a bit safer, right? Like if it doesn't work, it can be still easily sold or operated as a different business. While where you buy co-living hotel in the middle of nowhere, you are going to struggle to sell it. I had some couple of insights from this analysis I would like to share with you. So one is actually we don't need any data, but I found like on the map, when you look on the map, you see like a lot of them, they are next to each other, right? Like here and like here when you zoom, they're literally on the same street. And it's quite shocking. Let's move to, for instance, Morocco. There are two next to each other in the whole Morocco. Like these are not like all community co-living spaces. I told you like I scraped only first 40 that had rating, that those that have rating less than 8 I didn't consider. So I consider that these one are like the most popular, successful ones. So I tried to analyze those. And yeah, you have like two here, two here, two here. Like it's my assumption was that that people who start the co-living space, they don't have agreement and they create another competitor right next door. But I heard this often happening, that the guests that are visiting the co-living space, they like this business so much, so they decide to just copy everything and open next door. So this is a bit dangerous. You open somewhere in the middle of nowhere and you think like you will have blue ocean for you, and in reality someone is going to copy you. This can happen. And yeah, that's about it. I wrote these co-living spaces in 2000. I started in 2013. I don't operate them anymore. I wrote a guide about starting a co-living business, or be like what to do, what not to do when you are starting a co-living business. I think it's still relevant. You can find it on my blog. And yeah, if you found this insights interesting, let me know. If you want to find a hotel to buy for co-living, check out buythathotel.com. As I mentioned, there is this page where I try to curate the co-living spaces that might be a good fit for co-living. I don't know if they're a good fit for co-living. It's based on my data and like some experience. I believe they could be, and they are playing this one of the strategy I mentioned, like relatively far from the airport, very cheap property, certain size, certain vibe, and yeah, it could work for co-living. If you're going to start a co-living soon, good luck, and let me know if you decide to buy something from Buy That Hotel. I'm just curious about your journey of the whole process of starting a co-living.